Coming up on Nebraska Stories, 360 degrees of art. Craft beer the Nebraska way. A new technology for a safer game. Using social media to save a life. And life as a 19th century kid.
We have a lot of shepherd fairies, and this is one of his pieces right here.
And this is a dog by Bart Vargas.
And this is a piece by Banksy.
And Bitoy in Barcelona, if you went over there, she's everywhere on the street.
To say that John McIntyre and Laura Varanus appreciate art is a bit of an understatement.
This is by a local street artist named Stephen Kavanaugh.
If we ever do leave the house, we'll either have to cut it out or leave it for that next person.
They have become collectors with a special affinity for street art.
That's probably about 75% of our collection. And we just look for things we really enjoy. We like street art's an interesting kind of genre where it's a cross between pop art and graffiti with a political or social twist. So there's the Obama Maryland by Mr. Brainwash. You have to have that Hollywood aspect in order to even run for president anymore. And we don't really just collect art, we also collect the stories that go with it.
He made the hive, it's paper mache, and he uses the B section out of the books that he finds.
John works in finance, and Laura is a grade school librarian. They might appear to be your average middle-class couple living in a modest neighborhood in Northwest Omaha. From the outside.
I had the interest, and I brought him on board. So I was kind of the instigator of everything.
I did not start out being an art collector. I started out being an art lover.
And this is one of the first pieces we purchased from Mr. Brainwash. And this is before anyone really knew who Mr. Brainwash was. I started collecting street art before it really became popular. I was picking up street art very inexpensively. Unfortunately, some of the artists have priced us out, so we can't afford any of their pieces anymore, but we're very lucky to get what we have. We don't collect art to make money. We don't collect art hoping that it'll go up in value. We've just been really lucky. That's how it's been for us.
All of the nearly 500 pieces in the collection are on display, salon style, floor to ceiling, hardly a bare surface to be found, with internationally renowned works alongside pieces made by emerging unknown artists.
We think that it's really important if we buy the art, we better live with it.
We want to continue to support the artists that we fell in love with to start with. And so one of the ways to do that is making sure their art's on the wall.
Laura does most of her research online, carefully hunting for the next great piece. But not everything is planned in advance.
If I see something and it hits me, I mean, yeah, it's definitely the way to buy.
The aha moment, as I call it, where you see this piece and it's like, oh, I must own this piece.
Everyone can buy original art, and maybe you have to plan it out a little bit more and make a payment plan.
We don't travel. Instead, our travel budget is our art budget. We don't have new cars. We don't have a brand new kitchen.
You know, everything's about making a choice. This makes us happy.
In the last 10 years, the couple's reputation for adventurous, fearless collecting has raised eyebrows in the art world on a national level, with representatives from the Joslin, the Kansas City Art Institute, even Sotheby's in New York, requesting private tours. Art appraiser Lana Bacon says theirs is one of the most important contemporary art collections in the Midwest.
It's contemporary, it's street art focused. The quantity of incredible pieces that they have, the foresight that they have in their collecting. They're just the best example of some of the generous collectors in the United States. They just happen to be in Omaha, Nebraska. It's pretty exciting.
Hello. Hi, John McIntyre. Yes, good to see you. Yes, yes.
And the couple enjoys sharing their collection. On this night, it is a fundraiser for a local arts nonprofit.
You know, we have stuff we need to get framed.
John and Laura have collected more than a few pieces from Omaha artist Bart Vargas.
She was so happy
beautiful
that you came.
Oh my gosh.
Over the years, they've supported me and as well as dozens, if not hundreds, of other local artists.
Well, that's awesome.
Like, they're not just patrons or friends.
John and Laura hope to inspire others to buy original art and make connections with artists.
An apprentice with Image Summers Mural.
We have no formal training in art whatsoever.
So you're performing more?
Yes.
And
You don't need a background in art to love art. You know, it's whatever you like. Anyone can be an art collector. You know, you don't have to be a millionaire to collect art.
I think there's barriers to the art. Like, people feel like they're not smart enough for art.
The rubber galoshes are mine too.
It's the same as music. We have this big world of music. We all love music, but we don't like all of it. And art's the same way. Like, it's a great big world of art. There's something out there you like. And that's all it has to be, is just connecting with what you like. And John and Laura connect with what they like again and again and again. And we see it in this beautiful home.
For John and Laura, the art is more than aesthetic. It is a connection to people and their stories.
she's wandering somewhere.
We don't have wedding pictures. We don't have, you know, family photos. We live with our art. That's what we do. We just live with this.
Every time I walk around, I remember the stories. Love the piece. What do you think about selling it? Art has a way to trigger, I think, the memories, and you have a more vivid story when you have a piece of art on the wall that you can go to.
It is our life. Art is our life.
Art is life.
A hop is actually, it looks like a loose leaf cone. It's got a stem in the middle and small leaves around the edge of it, and then inside there is yellow lupulin glands, and that's actually the bitterness and some of the flavor and aroma that the brewers are looking for their craft beer.
They're not only producing a high quality crop, but then they're actually putting it into a marketable unit, drying, pelletizing, and properly packaging the raw materials that we need to make high quality products. That's the big change that we've seen in the last 3 to 5 years.
We're always looking for what can we do to enhance our #1 industry, and our #1 industry is agriculture.
Our hop growers, they can really taste the fruits of their labor, and it definitely gets us excited about, okay, this is where, you know, our labor of love for these hops can go into this beer now.
It's a different experience than the usual just drinking in a dive bar.
There's a lot of really good beer being made.
When you drink a Nebraska craft beer, you are drinking it in the place where it was produced.
Nebraska craft beers seem to be getting better and more interesting.
You're getting to converse with the brewers, you get to meet the people making the beer.
As a Nebraskan, we're just fiercely loyal to
local. Small town, large cities, it doesn't matter. You know, they're all realizing that, wow, these are good beers.
Easy drinkers, you know?
Yeah, try the Wonder Twins, please.
I started out homebrewing about 6 years ago, just making beer at home for fun. All I wanted to do was brew beer and try different things and experiment. I discovered you could compete with homebrewing, and I ended up doing that and kind of found myself a national champion homebrewer 2 years in a row. So it was really not something I set out to do, it just sort of my passion led me that direction. And that's what kind of got me to Boiler. You know, people ask me all the time, Tim, what's your favorite beer? And pretty much my canned answer now is the next one. But we're constantly trying something new. So I'm always thinking about what can we do next. There is a trend right now, people want what's local. They can look in the window and they can see right where the beer was made. Well, we ought to make an all Nebraska ingredient beer. Because the cool thing about the native Nebraska beer is it had never been done before.
Every single ingredient in the beer was locally made, and that was very exciting for all of us to see that that could be done.
People want that. They want to know where their food came from.
Everything that brewers do is driven from the excitement of the end result, which is that craft beer enthusiast. And they're grabbing that local ag product and they're putting it in a local beer, and at the end of the day, the consumers are loving it.
So right now the consumers are super interested in local and sustainable, and you know that's a great thing because we like to support our local economy and keep the money here. We're all in favor of local. So let's embrace our uniqueness.
They're needing more local products, and as we've proved through the Nebraska Hop Growers Association and the other members, that quality hops can be grown here in the state. Hops are a viable product for Nebraska. It's a great alternative crop, and as the craft beer industry grows, Nebraska hops will too.
Make new and interesting agricultural products, and I will put them in beer. Trust me, I will.
I think it's a great combination of safe equipment and technology to provide ways to prevent concussions and information on how to help recover from a concussion.
New data tracking football helmets have emerged in the Omaha area this fall. The helmets are designed to assess when a player has sustained a hard hit.
The helmet does not diagnose a concussion. The helmet does not prevent a concussion, but it's another tool in our toolbox that our coaches and our athletic trainers have to truly take data and assess the safety and well-being of our kids.
Separate donations made these helmets possible for all 7 Omaha public schools, Creighton Prep, and Bellevue East and West.
I think that speaks volumes to their generosity and the big picture that they truly care about all kids. To have this for every single one of our high school football players is amazing.
But how do these high-tech helmets work? Inside each helmet are 5 sensors measuring impacts. Those sensors send an alert to a handheld device if the player has received an impact that is severe.
Each helmet is registered to their name and their jersey number, so it pops up and we know exactly to go over to them, check on them, make sure they're okay. The preventative measures that it gives us, because you can't see everybody, so those things are huge, making sure, and if I was a parent, I'd love it because it would let me know that my son's safety from head injury is always being monitored and looked at.
What I'm excited about is coaches receive data that will truly help them reteach proper fundamentals of tackling and blocking. They can receive data that would show, hey, when we do this one drill, we have more alerts during this particular drill. Maybe we need to change something up with that. To be proactive, to kind of shape how our coaches structure practice, the kind of drills that they're doing, and to talk with individuals that perhaps are demonstrating poor fundamentals, they can rectify that. It's truly an amazing tool. The response was very positive and it was overwhelming. I think the parents, they feel a little bit more at ease knowing that our kids are in the top of the line equipment that can help them be safe and provide information that, you know, that our coaches and trainers can monitor to keep them safe.
I don't think it'll ever be a non-factor, concussions, but I think it's making it safer and safer for parents to allow their kids to play it. Our community wants to see our kids be safe and do well, and I think that was a great message to send. We are extremely thankful for it, and parents are thankful that somebody would donate that amount of money to make sure their son's well-being is being looked after.
This is how we do dialysis.
Meet Tony Snyder.
This catheter is a straight shot to my heart.
For 5 hours a day, he plugs into a machine that filters his blood.
Come back through and it's going to come back into me.
6 days a week.
Right now it's starting to shut down. It's starting to come out this other end.
He relies on a machine to do what his body can no longer do.
After it's been through.
I have polycystic kidney disease, which is your kidneys have cysts all over them. Gradually over time, as more cysts grow and they get bigger, it ends up shutting your kidneys down. My dad had polycystic kidney disease and had a transplant in his late 40s, early 50s. It goes back to his mother having a stroke, which they assume was tied into polycystic kidney disease. If you go back to like the family cemetery back in Ocano, you'll notice that a lot of the Snyder family died at a young age. And so then that makes you wonder, is it because of the kidney disease? My older sister and older brother have both been diagnosed with it. My two younger sisters have gone through the blood work for donation, and they weren't diagnosed with it, but they have a lower kidney function than a normal person. Nothing to be afraid of, but not enough kidney function to give one up.
Most of the patients we see actually are in their 40s, 50s, or 60s when they start to get the diagnosis. And the kidney becomes very cystic. It can become very large, as big as footballs, with these large cysts, which can get infected or they can bleed. But as the cysts grow, the kidney itself becomes smaller and smaller, and the renal function of the kidney deteriorates until ultimately they need dialysis.
Tony's father was able to find a living kidney donor in his sister. Since Tony does not have the same option, he is required to remain on dialysis until a match comes through on the National Donor Registry. 5 hours a day.
Okay, so now we're going to rinse his blood back.
6 days a week.
Why me? Why am I getting stuck with all of this? Other people are just running around, you know, they complain about a headache. And I'm just like, you have nothing to complain about. I would love to have a headache. One day I was just like, it's been 2.5 years. I am so sick and tired of doing this every day. I want my life back. And so just thought I'd throw it out there and put a post on Facebook. Hey, anybody's interested in giving, you know, a kidney away and would happen to have type A blood, I could sure use one. I got lots of responses. Like, sorry to hear about that, you know, wish I could help. I would, but I'm type B blood.
Remarkably, in addition to the well wishes and offers of support, Tony had found some possible donors.
I was scrolling through Facebook, just an ordinary day, and he said, I need a kidney. Anybody interested?
Out of those, you know, 5 or 6, there was one.
When my fiance got home, I would talk to him, said, what do you think? Is this something you would, you know, be willing to help me with? And absolutely.
Then she went on and took the next step.
I didn't tell my children or my parents until I found out that I was a match.
This is a person I worked with a couple days a week, maybe. That, you know, we talked, we knew each other's names, but other than that, you know, we didn't, like I said, we didn't have each other's phone numbers, you know, friends on Facebook.
In the middle of the Nebraska Sandhills, Tony Snyder tossed his fate onto a social media site, and a woman he barely knew answered.
Her name is Sunshine, which, I mean, how fitting is that, you know?
That's for most people's first reaction. What's your real name? It's unique, it is, but I guess it fits and I like it.
She's the sunshine of my life, right there. I mean, her parents had to have known when they named her that she was what she was bound and destined for.
It would seem that Sunshine's gift of selflessness knows no end.
I have 4 kids, personally, between me and my fiance. However, we have 9. We have 3 boys and 6 girls, ranging from kindergarten up until we have 3 8th graders.
It took a while to sink in, and, you know, just to lay there and, you know, lay there in my bed one night, and I just started thinking, it's like, wow, this is somebody who is putting their life on the line for me. What do you say? There's nothing that I could come up with other than thank you.
Almost 9 months after putting his plea out on Facebook, Transplant Day finally arrived.
Hi.
Check in for surgery.
Okay, last name?
Snyder.
At first I was a little nervous because it's all like kind of hit home that this is really happening.
I worried for her. I've been through lots of surgeries, so it's no big deal to me. I just wanted to make sure that she was okay doing this.
Tony's so laid back that kind of just blows off on you too. You're like, oh, if he can act cool, I can act cool. I don't know how cool I was on the inside, but I was sure trying on the outside.
Prior to surgery, Tony had one last opportunity to say thank you to the woman who was saving his life.
That was pretty emotional. It was just kind of just to see him laying there, you know, and just the anticipation for the surgery to be finally here.
Yeah?
Well, take good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Very welcome.
Appreciate it.
It's quite emotional just seeing him and having everything kind of hit home.
Months after the transplant, Tony was able to be there for Sunshine on her big day.
The really cool part about that is Tony is marrying us.
I didn't believe that you could become an ordained minister off the internet. And so one day, I was playing around on the internet, which seems to work for me, I found a website and filled it out, sent in the money, and bam, I'm an ordained minister.
I couldn't think of anybody better to stand up there and do that for us.
How could I say no? You know, you give me a kidney, I perform a marriage ceremony. Not even close, but let's do it.
Sunshine pretty much saved my life. He gave me my life back by giving me a kidney. And this is just a small way that I can repay her. I am proud to say this is the new Mr. and Mrs. Solis.
You want to get your marbles across to fill up all these holes before that partner gets his. Ooh, I got another 7 points. Oh! Now, if this toy is this heavy, what do you think a big one weighed like? It was pretty heavy, wasn't it? All right. Once you need the batter, we're going to get our skillet ready over here. And do you hear that clock? Homemade pancakes, fresh off the griddle. These are going to be the best pancakes ever. Oh, boy, welcome to the farm.
Nope, wrong way. You're going to only go that way, okay? So do it. Stick it pointy end down. You're going to turn it the other way. Yeah. Okay.
Would you like to be a farmer boy from 1890?
Yes.
Really?
Make sure everybody gets a chance to grind some cornmeal.
Okay, we should stop this. What's your husk?
Is there anybody that would like to live 125 years ago?
To see more Nebraska Stories, go to our website and like us on Facebook. Nebraska Stories is funded by the Margaret and Martha Thomas Foundation. Sustained funding for arts coverage on Nebraska Stories is provided by the H. Lee and Carol Gendler Charitable Fund.